Hello everybody and welcome to my channel, whether you're old or new. My name is Jessica and today we're doing an update on my 2022 Pan That palette, which of course is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. I know, so original, so original. It's been quite a fun journey with this one, but I'm really excited to wrap up this project at the end of this year, see our final amount of progress, share it with you, and declutter this thing coming up soon. I'm really starting to get a little bit just kind of burnt out on this one palette, but we've made huge progress so far. It's been really fun to just focus on one palette for the year. I always have goals set for myself, and I'm happy to say that I was able to reach some or maybe all of those goals this month, and I'm excited to share my progress with you. So if you're interested in seeing how my palette is looking this month, please stay tuned. So here's what my palette was looking like last month. I had just finished Golden Ochre, and I had some goals for this update. One was to finish Burnt Orange, and also I wanted to use all of the shades at least 5 times. And here's what my palette is looking like today. So as you can see, I did in fact reach that goal of finishing Burnt Orange. I finished it just yesterday, I believe, and I also reached for every single shade a minimum of 4 times. I hit both goals, feeling really good about that. I'm going to go through every single shade one at a time and show you comparison photos between this month and last month, tell you how many times I used them, how many times we used them total, and ultimately what goals we have for the next update. Please stay tuned to the end to see the montage of all of the progress in this palette month by month. I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. We will skip right on over Tempera. I finished that with 109 uses. We'll skip over Golden Ochre, which I finished last update with 70 total uses. And we'll also skip right over Vermeer, which has been empty for quite a while with 97 uses. And that brings us, of course, to Buon Fresco. Here's what Buon Fresco was looking like last month after 57 uses in this project. In the past month, I reached for the minimum of 4 uses, making for a total of 61 uses in this project. And here's what it's looking like today. This pan is getting pretty big. It kind of snuck up on me with how big it got. I haven't really been paying much attention to it, but all of a sudden I'm realizing, oh wow, we've got a good amount of pan there and some good potential of finishing that shade before this year is up. So I'm going to be focusing on that shade in this next month. And in the following month, I'm going to really try and use that up before this project is over and just have one more empty pan in here. That's going to be my goal ultimately. For this month, we're going to set a goal of 10 uses at least. I think that'll put me in a good position for December. I'll kind of see where I'm at and then just really go hard on it in the month of December and use it up before we get to the new year. That brings us next to Antique Bronze. This is one of the lesser used shades in this project. Here's what it was looking like last month after 17 uses in this project. I was able to reach for it 5 times in the past month, 1 over my goal, making for a total of 22 uses in this project. And here's what it's looking like today. And you'll probably see a slight expansion there. Not quite sure exactly how big it will be, but hopefully you'll see a slight difference. I think that it's getting pretty low around that pan. So when I use it, I'm able to expand it pretty quickly because of how shallow it is around that pan. We're going to continue to just chip away at that one. I'm not going to be focusing on it right now. Maybe the month of December if I'm feeling up for it, depending on where I'm at with the rest of the palette. But for now, we're going to have just a usage goal on it for the next update. Next, we have Love Letter, this pretty pink magenta. Here's what it was looking like last month after 33 uses in this project. I reached for it the minimum of 4 times during the past month, making for a total of 37 uses. And here's what that shade is looking like today. I don't know if you'll see much of a difference. It's such a pigmented shadow that a little bit goes a long way. But I'm just happy to know that I am getting use out of it and that it will continue to grow bit by bit in these next 2 months. But again, not a shade that I'm going to be really focusing on that much or trying to use up in any means. Next, we have Cypress Umber. This shade has gotten a lot of attention in the last month. It's actually one of the only shades from this palette that I'm wearing on my face today. I have it in my eyebrows and it's not really doing the best job. At least it's not mixing well with my eyebrow gel. If something's going on, I kind of have to futz with it sometimes to make it work. But that all said, it's good enough. Here's what it was looking like last month after 65 uses in this project. I used it a total of 27 times in the past month, making for a total of 92 uses. And here's what it's looking like today. Now, when I'm reaching for this, I'm using quite a small amount of product, and I kind of try to move my brush around the flat areas of the pan, not so much on the edges of the pan, but I think we'll definitely see an increase in pan. It's a crumbly eyeshadow, and just using it on a daily basis, even that small amount, I know there's going to be a big difference there. So that one feels good. I do love that shade, and I was kind of sad about getting rid of it at the end of this year. And then I realized that this shade is also in the Soft Glam palette, I'm pretty sure, or the Sultry palette, one of those. I think it's the Soft Glam, but you know, I'll still have that beautiful shade to enjoy. And I think Burnt Orange is in that palette too, which I also love. So, you know, this was becoming quite redundant in my collection, and I'm so happy to be getting the use on it this year and finally decluttering it from my collection. Moving down to the next row, we have Raw Sienna. Here's what it was looking like last month after 42 uses in this project. I only reached for it 4 times in the past month, making for a total of 46 uses. And here's what it's looking like today. And I highly doubt you'll see much of a change there. Only 4 uses is not much at all. I really was just focusing on Burnt Orange, which you already know I was able to use up, and that's where all of my attention went. And such a similar neutral brown crease color, you know, would just be a little redundant and unnecessary. Even when I reached for it, I kind of layered it with Burnt Orange to deepen it just ever so slightly. And you know, I was just basically using it to use it. But we are going to be focusing on this one in the next month. I definitely want to empty this pan before this project is up. So we're going to make that one a focus shade for this next upcoming month and see how far we can get on it. I'm hoping to get really, really close to this being empty in our December update. We're not going to skip over Burnt Orange. Here's what it was looking like last month after 79 uses in this project. And my goal was to finish it up. And as you already know, with 21 more uses, I was able to do that. Here's what it's looking like today. Feels really, really good to have another completed shade in this palette. That's 5 now that I have emptied, which I've never thought was possible. So it took me 100 total uses to finish that shade, which is such a nice round number. And for some reason that adds an extra level of satisfaction to all of it. Skipping over Primavera that I had finished after 86 uses, and that brings us to Red Ochre. It was looking like this last month after 19 uses in this project. In the past month, I reached for it 4 times. Again, that minimum number, making for a total of 23 uses, and here's what it's looking like today. You might see a small change in that shade, but again, so pigmented that it doesn't make a big difference with just a couple of uses. I do love this shade. It's actually grown to be one of my favorite mattes that are remaining, at least in this palette. And I am excited to get more use on this in the next coming months. I'm not going to set a usage goal on it particularly different from my other shades, but I would like to just kind of make a mental note of reaching for it a few extra times and getting a few extra wears on it before this one gets out of my collection. I'm not going to finish it. I know that's probably not going to happen, but in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy the heck out of it because it is really, really pretty. I love it buffed all over the lid. It's a really good base shade for shimmers on top, and you can really do some versatile looks with it as that really warm reddish brown. And it blends so beautifully like all the ABH matte formulas. Moving on to Venetian Red, here's what it was looking like last month after 26 uses in this project. I've used it the minimum of 4 times during this last month, making for a total of 30 uses. And here's what Venetian Red's looking like today. I don't think you'll see much of a change there either, but I don't really have much to say about this shade. I'm just kind of wearing it to wear it. It's not as bad as I made it out to be. I just feel like it's kind of like a duplicate shade and just not really necessary for the palette overall. Like, I just wish it was a different color. Maybe if I was ABH, I would have maybe put something else there, but I'm not. But anyways, we'll keep working on that one, our minimum uses, and see how big we can get that pan before the year is up. Next, we have Warm Taupe. I also used this shade in my eyebrows today. That's basically how it's getting used these days. Here's what it was looking like last month after 65 uses in this project. I was able to reach for it 27 times by putting it in my brows, making for a total of 92 uses, and here's what it's looking like today. I would not be surprised that even with 27 uses, you're not going to see much of a difference here. Maybe there's more of a difference than I think there will be. I just have kind of been wearing it down the side of the pan again, like not really focusing on the edge very much. But it is getting lower along the side, and there is progress. I can see that direction, even if the pan is not expanding in the most obvious way. Which brings us to our last shade, Real Guard, this beautiful matte orange. And this is one that I really made an effort to reach for a couple more times during the month of October. I mean, when else do you want to wear orange than in the month of October? But it's a great shade for November too. Here's what it was looking like last month after 52 uses in this project. In the past month, I reached for it 7 more times. So I'm happy I went a couple over my 4 use goal. And here's what it's looking like today. again, like the most pigmented matte shade. A little bit goes the longest way, and even with 7 uses, I doubt we'll see much of a difference, but at least I know I got use on it, and I'm gonna continue to try and use it in the month of November, kind of like with Red Ochre, where I'm just gonna make a little additional mental note to reach for those as many times as I can, because they're such beautiful fall tones, and it's gonna be my last fall with those shades. That is it. Those are all of my shades that I have to update you on. I do have a weight difference on my palette this month. I've started weighing this since the month of April. I didn't weigh it when I first started this project, so that's kind of a bummer. When I first weighed this palette in April, it was weighing 184.64 grams. Last month, it was weighing 182.57 grams. And this month we have it weighing 182.24 grams. So I've used 0.33 grams of product since the last update. And I've used 2.4 grams total since I started weighing this palette in April. Of course, I have some goals for the next month. I've already kind of mentioned them. But just to summarize, my focus shade this month will be Raw Sienna. I'm also going to try to reach for Buon Fresco at least 10 times. And I'm going to try and use the remaining shades at least 5 times. I know that with Warm Taupe and Cypress Umber, that will not be a problem. But for Real Guard, Love Letter, Venetian Red, Antique Bronze, those 4, we'll have to really kind of just make an effort to reach for those. And some of them I hope to exceed that 5-use goal. But for me, I think at least having that number of 5 helps me to kind of disperse my attention throughout this palette as we move through the month. So there you have it. That is my November update for my Pan That palette. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of my project panning videos. I think they're a lot of fun to watch, and I assume that you do too since you're here. So if you want more, please subscribe. And I cannot wait to see you in my next update. Hope you're doing really well. Bye.